Explico a questions because it's just with the guys. Maybe since that which is.
Yeah, you can, yeah.
Everyone, good evening. Thank you for being here today. Again, the third session. Right, we will be sharing shortly, and we have actually, thanks to one of our volunteers, we have compiled the text into English and Chinese, and we'll be sharing it into the WhatsApp so that you can reference it easier, right, for the stages of Bardo. And before Rinpoche starts, thank you those who have signed up for the new name. If you are interested, please sign up by Friday so that the first set will start on Saturday, 5 a.m. Right? So if there is any questions on the text that you are not familiar with, please drop us a message. But first, welcome, happy Choco to Chen. Yes, it's Choco to Chen today.
Yes.
So it's everything realized when we plan the teaching is on the auspicious day. So today is a very auspicious day, and thank you for being here to join us on this very mortifying day. So please dedicate your merits to dedicate today after the teachings for world peace, for happiness, and also so that our gurus, our teachers will continue to come back to teach us, until we attain enlightenment. Right? So today I'm a little bit tired. Sorry. But thank you, and I'll hand over to Rinpoche. Rinpoche?
Yeah, thank you. Good evening and welcome back. Yeah. So before we continue with the teaching, the text, just to reflect on something that is Shokor Tujin, which is the first turning of the Dharma wheel. Buddha's first turning of the Dharma wheel. Basically, the very first time Siddhartha Gautama taught after becoming the Buddha, in Varanasi, right? And what is the first teaching that Buddha gave? The tree. Eight noble truth.
Four noble
Truths. Four noble truths. Yes. Sorry. Yeah, four noble truths.
Textbook.
Huh? Yeah. Textbook. Yes. The four noble truths, which is the first one, suffering. Yeah, the truth, basically four truths, right? The truth of suffering, the truth of cause to the suffering, truth of the cessation, end to the suffering, and the path to end the suffering. So these are the four noble truths. So I don't know if it's the appropriate word to say or not, but in memory of Lord Buddha, we just go into this, that Buddha taught that Siddhartha Gautama, Prince Siddhartha, got enlightened as the Buddha, and then his eyes got opened, awakened Buddha, and then the first thing he did to open our eyes is to teach us the Four Noble Truths. So that means the Four Noble Truth is if not the most important, but one of the most important things, right? It seems so simple. It sounds so simple, but then it's such a deep. Yeah. As we discussed yesterday, the main point was that we are not able to realize suffering as suffering. We see suffering, but we imagine, we project, we define suffering as something it is not. And so when you start to see something as what it is not, then you start to have similar results. When you then that's why we are suffering. And suffering is something that none of us want to continue. So therefore, in order to end suffering, the most important thing is to recognize suffering as it is. Now, to commemorate that, so it's a very precious, auspicious, very auspicious occasion that we are able to talk on. We were doing a Dharma talk, but not only a Dharma talk, but we are doing the Dharma just talk on Bardo, right? So for next 2 more days, we have Bardo talk. And Bardo is about death, right? Bardo is what comes after death. And death is about impermanence. And if you remember yesterday's teaching, impermanence is the most important thing. Impermanence is the alarm, the notification that tells us you can't just lag around. Yeah. So impermanence, if you know about impermanence, then the deeper your understanding, the deeper your acceptance of understanding of impermanence, the more effective your Dharma practices become. Yeah. So I think very suitable topic. Yeah. So now without much, we will just to open up. We will do the Sangye Chuzoma, page 4. Take refuge. Refuge we will do in Tibetan. Yeah, Sangye Chuzoma. Then we will do page 6, the foundation of all good qualities. So foundation of all good quality is written in a manner just like the Bardo Tangdro that we are doing, the Bardo book that we are reading. This is also written in a manner of seeking a blessing. And so when you are seeking a blessing, the requirements that you are seeking, and please help me, please bless me with this, bless with me that, bless with me that. So the list of the blessing that you are seeking is basically the list of the important things that you should be doing. So therefore, basically, this is a numbering in a sense. Yeah. Okay. Sangye Chedan Zoye Chanam Chanjo Hado Gane Getsu Daye jinso yebe sonange jola benje sangye joba shio sonange chela zoye chananda chanjo bado nani gezo shile daye jinso yebe sonange jola benje sangye joba shio sonange chela zoye chananda chanjo bado nani gezo shile Daye jinso yebe sanange, jola benje sange joga sho. Page 6, the foundation of all good qualities. The foundation of all good qualities is the kind and perfect pure Guru. Correct devotion to him is the root of the path. By clearly seeing this and applying great effort, please bless me to rely upon him with great respect. Understanding that the precious freedom of this rebirth is found only once is greatly meaningful and is difficult to find again. Please bless me to generate a mind that unceasingly, day and night, takes its essence. This life is as impermanent as water bubble. Remember how quickly it decays and death comes. After death, just like a shadow follows the body, the results of rituals and non-rituals are not followed. Finding firm and definite conviction in this, please bless me always to be careful, to abandon even the slightest negativity and accomplish all virtuous deeds. Samsaric splendors have unsatiating and unreliable. Seeking them is the door to all suffering. Recognizing these shortcomings, please bless me to generate a strong ritual by visual cultivation. Led by this pure thought, mindfulness, alertness, and great caution arise. The root of the teaching is keeping the Pratimoksha vows. Please bless me to accomplish this essential practice. I have fallen into the sea of samsara, so have all mother migratory beings. Please bless me to say this, train in supreme bodhicitta, and bear the responsibility of freeing migratory beings. Even if I develop bodhicitta, but I don't practice the three types of morality, I will not achieve enlightenment. With my clear recognition of this, please bless me to practice the bodhisattva vows with great energy. Once I've pacified distraction toward wrong objects and correctly enhance it with the meaning of reality, please bless me to generate quickly within my mind stream a unified path of calm abiding with special insight. Having become a pure vessel and training in the general path, please bless me to enter the holy gateway of the fortunate ones, the supreme culture vehicle. At that time, the basis of accomplishing the two attainments is keeping pure vows and samadhi. As I have become firmly convinced of this, please bless me to protect these vows and bless like my life. Then, having realized the importance of two stages, the essence of Vajrayana, by practicing with great energy, never giving up the four sessions, please bless me to realize the teaching of the Holy Guru. Like that, may the gurus who showed the path and the spiritual friends who practice it have their own lives. Please bless me to pacify completely all outer and inner hindrances. In all my lives, never separated from the perfect gurus, may I enjoy the magnificent dharma by completing the qualities of the stages of the path. May I quickly attain the state of Vajrayana. Kewa kundo yanda lama dan jeme chöge bela longje sada lamye yunde rabso ne dorje change boban yun do sho. Yeah. I think yesterday we forgot the mandala. I forgot. Sa ye be ye jo ji Mendala kamne yandara ya emi. So yesterday, we discussed three sort of main things. The first one is taking refuge. The next one is the reality of human life. And then the third one is the transient nature, the temporariness, yeah, the uncertainty of life. That the human life is not only rare, but it is not everlasting. So these three, even though we could have gone through the last part, the uncertainty and the temporariness of human life, that the first two we talked in great detail. The last one we didn't talk much, and the reason is in today's sort of verse, the uncertain nature and the temporariness of human life will come up. So now today we will discuss that one. So thanks to Yongsumla, we have the book in Tibetan, and you have you're gonna send later. Okay. Anyway, okay. So the mm, mm. So since we have the translation in English, I will read the translation. In English, which yesterday I already covered. So first one is Namo Guru Manju Kohaya, homage to Manjushri. The first verse, to the Buddhas, Dharma, and the Supreme Sangha of the three times, I and all beings equal to space without exception, take refuge until attaining the essence of enlightenment. I pray for deliverance from the terrors of this life, the next, and the Bardo. The second verse, in this precious, easily destructible human body, this is the moment to choose between benefit and harm, joy and sorrow. May I not be distracted by meaningless worldly activities, but be blessed to seize the great essential meaning. So that is the reality of human life. Gathered things separate. Accumulated things inevitably exhaust. The high eventually falls. And all that is born eventually dies. Not only is death certain, but its time is uncertain. Certain and uncertain. Death is certain, but the timing of death is uncertain. May I be blessed for the mind stream, consciousness, mind, to realize this urgency. So this part we finished yesterday. So life is uncertain, death is certain. And this is from Lamrim. Not only is death uncertain, the life uncertain and death certain, but the death is uncertain, the timing of death is uncertain. So when death is uncertain, we tend to think, because we tend to be optimistic. Death is uncertain, that means will come or will not come, not sure. So probably death will not come today. Right? That's what we tend to think, and that's why we have developed to think. Death will not come tomorrow. I have so many plans tomorrow. If the same reason why death won't come today and tomorrow applies for day after tomorrow, or the next month, or the next year. Maybe in a few decades it might come, but not today. Not this year, not this month, not today. This is what we tend to think. So in the Lamrim it says, may come or may not come. Death may come today or may not come today. But for your own benefit, it's better to think, to prepare, to think, mentally prepare. So that's think. Now, to mentally prepare for death to come today itself. So there is if you have this conviction, so you have to, this is a practice, so you have to keep thinking like that over and over again. Of course, in the beginning, it's very scary. Then, just like everything else, that fear sort of decreases or slows down. And then the fears, if you practice diligently, the fear turns into determination. So you are very much, you know that it's uncertain, and with not only uncertain, but whether it would come today or tomorrow, not certain. If you think that death will come today, then you will only do the most important, meaningful things. All the pettiness you will leave behind. Whatever small things between you and them, you and me, he and she, you will leave behind. It's not worth it because you are leaving tomorrow, you are leaving tonight, you are departing right after this topic, this teaching, or maybe on the midst of this conversation. So between death not coming and death coming, preparing for the death to come today is more beneficial. That's from Lamrim. Yeah. So therefore, prepare for it. Prepare for it means when it will come, certainly, of course. But we all think that it will not come today, it will not come to me. Death will not approach me. We see in the news, in the media, everywhere, that very healthy people, sportsperson, right? Yeah, very healthy, athletic people who are supposed to be very healthy, fit, agile, everything, die. Then someone young, innocent, do nothing wrong, still die. And sometimes people who are old and have done evil thing seems to live. So death is so uncertain. We see that, and then we brush it off. Just like we talk about suffering, not recognizing suffering. We know suffering. We don't recognize suffering as it is. So when death is approaching, just like suffering, death is approaching. Death is facing us. But we do not recognize death as death. We want to push it away. We want to be comfortable. Yeah. So by reflecting on death, reflecting on my death today, this very moment, then the urgency develops. You want to practice. You want to keep up only the most meaningful one. Anything small, you just want to let it go. So, Chongor Tujing, teaching on the death, not only teaching on death, but practicing on death. We will reflect on ourselves as being on a deathbed. So each of you, each of us, You can follow my instructions. So I am on the deathbed. I am on the verge of dying. My loved ones have circled around me. They are in a sorrowful state. I have so many things left undone, and so many things that I have done which I'm not very proud of. But I'm at the verge of death. What can I do? Death is at the doorstep, knocking on my door. Inevitable, not only inevitable, in a very few minutes, death is coming to catch me. Do I have anything memorable to hold on to? Anything positive? Any virtuous work that I'm proud of? Any great service to the people, to my loved ones, to my elders, to my parents, loved ones? Anything, any positivity, any good work that I can think of, do I have? At the same time, think of any negative work that I have done, I'm not proud of. I don't want people to know that I have done this and that. I know people don't, some of the secrets people don't know, but still, I am privy to those secrets that I have. I'm at the verge of death. My life is about to end. By holding these secrets, what do I achieve? By doing those negative things, what if I thought I'm going to achieve great things by doing these negative things? Lying, stealing, killing, harmful things. I thought I was winning, but have I won? When the death is knocking at my door, all those small achievements, so-called achievements, have made me a winner or a loser. If these achievements can send away death, then of course I'm a winner. But death is inevitable. Death is knocking at the door. My loved ones are encircling me. Some of them are scheming. Some of them are praying. Some of them were worried. You can hear the Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. This Om Mani Padme Hum is not others but you, because you are dying. You are on the deathbed. You are on the verge of death. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. This Om Mani Padme Hum is not an ordinary Om Mani Padme Hum. Normally, when you hear the spiritual sounds, you are happy. But today, they are praying for your death. On your death, sorry. They are praying on your death. Are you happy that you are proud to die? Are you courageous enough to delve into death? Or you have so many regrets, so many things to fix? What would you fix most if this is your last chance to fix something? Reflect on that. Reflect on that error you have committed, that erroneous work that you have committed, that you want to fix so badly. Reflect on that. That wrongdoing. Observe that. observe that misconduct, that negative work that you have done. Don't judge yourself. No need to judge. Just observe that negative work. And recognize it for what it is, a negative work. After recognizing it, will you still do that negative thing? You will not. Make a commitment, make a conviction that you will no longer engage in such an activity. Make a conviction. And now, without judging yourself for anything, reflect on that negative action that you have done. Like everything else in this world, that negative action is also free from inherent existence. It's dependent origination, dependently originating, meaning that negative action that you have committed, done, is also dependent on contingent on so many other things, forces. And it does not stand alone. It is not solidifyingly existing on its own. If you try to find out the source, if you try to find the focal point of what that negative action is, you will not find it. Just like everything else that does not exist inherently, that wrongdoing also doesn't exist inherently. So with that understanding, purify that negativity through the perception of wisdom, recognizing emptiness. Of course, for that, you need to have a clear understanding of emptiness, and which you must develop. Yeah. And now you remove the negativities, purify that through the perception of emptiness. And once again, be mindful of the most important things that you should be doing, because you are able to purify the negativity. The death has stopped knocking at your door. It's letting you go this time, giving you a chance. So be mindful of the things that you want to fix, that is the things that are meaningful to you. Keep these things close, the things that you want to avoid, the things that you want to have. Because at the time of death, what is the most important thing? What was the most important thing when you are lying on the bed where people are trying to cremate you, bury you, give you to the vultures, throw you to the sea? At that moment, what is the most important thing? You should keep that as close to, keep close observation of that. So with that, so this is a short practice on death. Yeah, approaching death. So as we discussed, if you have studied on bodhicitta, if you continuously study on bodhicitta, on emptiness, on impermanence, all these things, then at the time of death, when death knocks on your door, it will be easier, instead of being scared of death, you will be able to utilize the perception of wisdom, realizing emptiness on death itself, on uncertainty itself, on suffering itself, on all the vices, on all the mistakes, on all the misconducts that you have done, you have committed, you have accumulated. And with that, you will be able to face death with courage. you'll be able to. So this is something to remember, to recall. Yeah. So there's a long teaching on the impermanence. Okay. Now we're coming to the main part, which is on the time of death. So this, as we talked earlier, yesterday, this teaching, this book is written in the form of a blessing. So a lot of time, blessing, we usually think of blessing like touching the Buddha's statue on your head, or so many things. So the word blessing, the Tibetan word is chilap, right? Chilap. Chilap means there's two words there, chin and lap. Chin means chin is short for siji, which means glory. So glory is another synonym for quality, positive quality. Then lap means wave, like a wave of ocean, so which signifies change, so transformation. So transforming your negative qualities into the positive qualities of the person, the thing, the object, the statue, the book, which you are being blessed with. So to be blessed means to be transformed into that, to upgrading yourself, right? Or transform yourself into someone better, to the quality of that. When you say, okay, touching the Buddha's statue on my head, I'm blessed by the Buddha, that means to upgrade your mental perception, your understanding, all these things into the level of the Buddha. Transform, Chinlap. So basically, Chinlap means to change, to transform. Yeah. So this book is written in the form of a Chinlap, just like the foundation of all good qualities. So it's written in a sense of, please bless me to think this way, please bless me to think that way, etc. Which in turn basically means you must think that way. So I have to think this. So give me the strength to do so effectively. So that is the blessing here. So when you ask Buddha to bless you at the time of death, or when you ask someone, remember that yesterday that we talked about, Buddha said, I cannot wash away your sins, I cannot remove your pain, suffering, I cannot transfer my qualities onto you, realizations onto you. I will show you the way, and then you have to do it on your own. So blessing, to be blessed by this book, any book, this book is in the form of a blessing, right? So to be blessed by this book means by understanding the meaning, understanding the instruction put into this book, you will think as the book instructs at the time of death. I mean, you will practice before death, and at the time of death, your mind is ever ready to think in such a way. In case you are not ready to do so, please bless me, Buddha. So I will follow the instruction. So give me the strength, give me give me the strength to follow the instruction properly, right? So it's not like I will not follow any instruction, I will not do any practice, not study, not do anything. Help me, Buddha, at the time of death. That's not how it works. I will do everything as you say. So give me the strength to do everything as you say. The thing is, if it is like that, when you have someone to rely upon, even if you are, if you have someone to rely upon, you can do it with much more conviction, confidently. If you think that you have no one to rely upon, no one to support you, then even if you know it very well, it becomes a challenge for you, right? So like when you have to give a talk, you prepare some piece of paper, you prepare in advance. And then in case the mind goes blank and you do not remember anything, you can just look at the piece of paper and then you remember it. So that piece of paper is the support. That piece of paper is the blessing. So blessing, yeah, that is the blessing. If you know you have someone, if you know you are someone, you feel safe and you can go, right? When we make like a, how to say, like a line, this yellow line. If you are asked to walk on this yellow line, not cross over, just keep going that yellow line, this yellow line here, you'll be able to do so because there's no fear of falling. It's very safe, right? Now imagine this yellow line on the, I don't know, 90th floor or 50th floor, something very high. All the obstacles, everything going there. It's the same thing. You may be a very good walker, rope walker, whatever you call that. Still, there's a lot of fear. If you have to do it on a flat ground, you can do it easily because you know you are safe. You know you are safe because you have this support from the flat floor, right? When you feel like there is a support, that there is a huge, there is a reliance, when you are confident there is support there, you can do it more easily, confidently, conveniently. When you feel like there is no support, even if you know the way, you feel like you are lost. So therefore, you must learn the instruction by yourself, of course, but you seek the blessing of the Buddha so that by having this knowledge that the Buddha is watching over you, then you feel more confident to follow the instructions properly. That's why we seek for the blessing. Even though you have to do it by yourself, if you know that the Buddha is watching, then you feel more confident. It becomes easier, more convenient. So it's in the form of a blessing. So the this particular so the topic is called clearing the obstacles to the path, clearing the obstacles to the path, and to generate a mind that is conducive to the Dharma. That is the first chapter. Basically creating or generating a mind that is conducive to the Dharma. Because at the time of death, if your mind is thinking about, we just did that. If you're thinking about all the pettiness, different things like your business deal or whatever situation, everything, right? Those minor things, then you will not be small things, trivial things, then you will be stuck there. You will not be able to accomplish anything. So generating a mind conducive to the Dharma means sticking only to the important ones. The first chapter. The second chapter is the actual instructions on facing death. Yep. So the first one has 4 chapters. The first chapter basically says to stop, to avoid the this one is a little bit tricky. Okay, let me think how to put it more properly. To avoid the splitting or splitting, to avoid the splitting pain of death. Okay, that's the first chapter. The second chapter is second subchapter is to avoid the confusion. Third chapter being to recall and remember the Guru's instruction. And the fourth one is to die courageously and happily. So these 4 things: to avoid the splitting pain of death, to avoid confusion at the time of death, to avoid to recall the instructions of the Guru, and to die happily, joyfully, and courageously. These four subcategory, these are the four subcategory of creating a conducive mind, a mind that is conducive to the Dharma. Okay. So the first one, for that there is the text. This is the new text, so today's text. English. In the city of mistaken grasping and dualistic thoughts, the impure body of the four illusory elements, and the various causes of death at the moment of consciousness's separation. May the cutting pain and suffering be pacified. So these four lines addresses the first subcategory, which is the splitting pain of separation. So what that basically means is, so first of all, what is death? Yeah. In order to understand death, we have to understand life or life force. So according to the Abhidharma Kosha, the sutra, the text on metaphysics and cosmology, according to Buddhist perception, with the Buddhist understanding. So is life or life force. So life force is understood to be ce, which is a duration or time. Chö means heat, namshe means consciousness, then means support. Yeah, yimba means it is. So ni ceyin, life is a duration, life is a time, life is a form of time. Life is a form of time, life is a form of duration, life is a form of whiling, life is a duration. Life is a duration, and it is the support for both heat, warmth, and consciousness. So this is what life is. This is what constitutes life, according to the sort of the Buddhist understanding. So the very term for life in Tibetan is ce. If you for human life, we call it mi-ce. Mi-ce means human, and ce is life. So human life is called mi-ce. Ce actually means time, right? So human life in Tibetan actually means human time. The time when you are being a human being. The time, because consciousness is always the same. It's the same consciousness traveling from, migrators, right? The six, what do you call that?
Realms.
6 realms, right? 6 realms. So 6 realms is always traveling. At a certain point, you are whiling the time of a human being. At a certain point, you are whiling the time of a hungry ghost. At a certain point, you are whiling your time as a hell being, etc. So hell, time of a hell being equals to a hell being. Time in the hell equals to a hell being. Whiling your time in the human world equals to human being, human life, etc. So mitse, human life, is human time. The time you spend as a human constitutes your human life. So it is also the support or the foundation for warmth or heat. It's also the foundation for heat and consciousness. So for a human being, for most, I think majority, most of the living beings survive on heat, has heat. And some do not. But even those who do not survive on heat, they still has to survive on consciousness. Without consciousness, there is no survival. So life force or life is something that is a form of timing, a form of duration, as well as the support system or the foundation for heat and heat slash consciousness. Yeah, so that is life to begin with. And to put it more simply, yeah, and so what is death? The next one is death. Death is more easy to understand. When the mind or the consciousness is separated from the body, then that is death. Mind separated from body, body ceases to remain body, body becomes corpse. Consciousness is in there, it's called a body, human body, dog's body, bird's body. Consciousness removed, corpse, not a body. So separation of separation of consciousness from the body is death. One time, in our monastery, one Kikola is a discipline master. So he gives a very sort of his examples, how do you call that? Discipline master has to discipline people, right? So you have to say some sharp things. So one day, there's a group of monks who are misbehaving all the time. So he was like pointing at them and saying one time. So what he said was like very simple but very effective. So he said, he tried to reprimand them so many times, but they're not listening. So he said one day, so you guys think, you guys have done so much, this and that. So you guys are taking everything for granted, misbehaving, doing this and that. But you know what? Death is so uncertain. So he actually spoke on death all of a sudden. So death is so uncertain. You're not, you take the offerings and you're not praying, you do all this thing. Death is just next door. Next door does not mean like far next door. Next door means if you breathe out and cannot breathe in, that's next door. If you breathe out and cannot breathe in, that's the next door. So next door does not mean far away in another country, a kingdom, or miles away. Just right there. When your breathing stops, you are considered death. Right? So breath is a form of, according to Buddhist sort of understanding, breathing air. That is a form of what we usually call of the wind energy, lung. And lung, even though that is not very highly specified in the sutra text, but in the tantra text, the consciousness, we usually think the saying is that mind can travel anywhere, right? There is a limitation to the body, the physicality, but for the mind, there is no limitation, can travel anywhere. But according to the higher, the Vajrayana text, the mind is reliant on the wind energy to traverse outside or inside, especially inside within your body. That's why we have the channels, the nadis, the meditation. So if you clear your channels, then the wind channel being like a pipe. So within that channel, you can push your wind energy. And by directing your wind energy to your desired destination, you can direct your mind or consciousness to that specific place. And by doing so, you will be able to sort of, control mind. we talked about this yesterday too, right? We think like we usually say that mind is intangible and all this and that. But mind, even though mind is intangible, but mind is very much reliant on its the triggers, the objects that we see. So if you don't see that object, you will not think about it most of the time. Either you see it with your eyes visually, or you see it with your mentally. You all of a sudden you think of or something, and then your mind is distracted to that thing. So unless there is a trigger, unless there is a distraction, when there is a distraction from the external world, then the mind goes there, right? So even though mind is in essence, though the mind is intangible, but you can always mislead or lead the mind through different sort of tools or deceptive tools to lead the mind out, lead the mind here and there, right? So anyway, so the mind, the consciousness. So in Tibetan we have the word sen or chitta in Sanskrit. So in English it's very difficult. Mind, consciousness, mental factor. So all these words do not do like absolute proper justice to the word sen. The thing, maybe I have mentioned that last year. So the sem has the ability to think and feel. Sem can be here, sem can be here. Chitta, I can feel with my sem, I can feel with my sem, I can feel with my sem, I can think with my sem. But mind, the English word mind, you can think with your mind, but you cannot feel with your mind. You can feel with your emotions. So you have to use different terminology for that. But the Tibetan word sen or the chitta can do those things, can have such a ambiguous ability. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm digressing. So the main point is that mind, the wind energy, is usually referred to, especially in the tantrics, is referred to as the ride of the mind, the vehicle of the mind. So for the mind to travel, it has to rely on the wind energy. So wind energy is not wind as in the gross form of wind like that. You can feel like a breeze or a storm, not that sort of. It's very subtle. So that's why it's called a wind energy. Even in today's science, we understand air length, wavelength, energy in the form of air in the form of energy, in the form of what I call that, energy and waves, right? So like that, it's very subtle. So on that subtle wind energy, the mind travels. So anyway, so life, when the mind is separated from the body, basically when the mind is out, the consciousness is totally out of the body, then you are dead. When it's within your body, you are still a living, breathing human being. Yeah. So separation of the mind from the body. At that splitting moment, at the splitting moment of separating the mind from the body, there is something called a splitting pain. Okay, so basically, when you, for example, when the mind is removed from the body, there is a unbearable pain. Okay, so that it is referring to that pain, the splitting pain of death. The splitting pain of death. The splitting pain of death is what it means. So when does it occur? It occurs at the time of death, of course. At the time of death, the the wind energy is dissolved from all parts of your body, from the bottom, from the toes, from the crown to the central, somewhere around your chest. Usually when you see the Buddhas and all the deities, they have a mantra or the 6 syllable written on their chest. So at that point, Ninga, the chest area, there is something called Ninge Zadabge, or the 8 petals of chakra at the center, right? When you are born, the first wind energy, the wind energy is formed there, and the life is also, how to say, life gives birth, or life takes form. Life is able to live starting from that channel, that essential channel. And when you die, the wind energy starts dissolving from all parts of your body until here. And when it leaves the central channel, then you are considered death. So when that separation happens, like anything, when you sever your hand or your finger, there is a pain. There is a different pain for different part of body. So the severance of the mind from the body is taking place. There is a pain, yeah, very painful. So if you are able to remember the instructions of the Guru and able to dive into death peacefully, joyfully, courageously, then that separation is no longer a pain. It is a separation, but that separation becomes joy. So the first one is the first subcategory to avoid the splitting pain at the time of death. Yep. So may the cutting pain and suffering be pacified. Yeah, that is the one. In the city of mistaken grasping and dualistic thoughts, the impure body of the 4 illusory elements and the various causes of death at the moment of consciousness separation, may the cutting pain and suffering be pacified. So in the city of mistaken grasping and dualistic thought. So at the time of death, I mean, generally we have so many dualistic thought, and whatever thought we have clinging towards that thought. It's a favorable thought, we cling to that thought. It's an unfavorable thought, like thinking about, let's say, your enemy or someone that you dislike, you cling to that as well. You think of how bad your enemy is, how evil she is, how manipulative that person is, blah, blah, blah. You cling on to that. And you have 2 person you love, you have attachment. Oh, how good, how nice, how whatever the reality is, you exaggerate and you cling on to that as well. So there is a clinging. Not 1 or 2, but so many, hundreds and thousands, like a city. So at the time of at the time of death, in the city of mistaken, meaning erroneous, grasping, and dualistic thought. So basically, at the time of death, you would have, probably when we did the short practice on death, you might have had this idea, like so many thoughts arise. We have so many thoughts arise generally, but at the time of death, all this, I should have done this and that, and this thing just come up, and it's going to haunt you, right? So this, that is what it's referring to when it says the city of mistaken grasping and dualistic thought. The impure body of the 4 illusory elements. So the 4 illusory elements is basically the 4 elements. So basically, at the time of death, we have this thing called absorption or dissolution of the 4 elements at the time of death. So those 4 elements has got nothing to do with like real four elements, okay? So four elements is Subchapters, earth, water, fire, and wind. I mean, human bodies consist of Subchapters, the four elements. Then you can also add the fifth element, either space or consciousness, depending on your depending on the situation. It can be a space, it can be consciousness, right? Like that. So generally, we talk about the four elements. So the four element, we will come to this later. So the four element dissolution of the four elements is basically different stages of dying at the time of death. So at the time of death, your body starts to, usually what happens, start to become stiff, you become more weak, cannot see clearly, you start losing heat, warmth, this and that. So these are described as dissolution of. So for example, when the body starts to lose its firmness, it is described as dissolution of the earth, because earth is considered to be strong, sturdy, and firm. Earth, the definition for earth in the dialectical sort of the philosophical term is sashin teba, sashin teba, sayitini. So sa means ground or earth, and sashin teba, sayitini. So there's two sa, but they are differently spelled. So basically it means sa, or earth, is something that is hard, sa, and teba, which is firm. Earth is something that is firm and hard. That is the definition of earth, okay? So don't start a debate. You might start saying, oh, then it's metal on earth, right? Anyway, so we will go into that later if you want, if you are curious. So sa, earth, is equated with something firm and hard. So dissolution of the earth element means when your body starts to become less firm, you become infirm, etc. Then your mouth started to dry up. That is when the water is dissolved, etc. like that. So therefore, the so-called four elements are not, it's not like ordinary elements, because at the time of death, these four elements that you, it is so uncertain, it is so unreliable because you are on the state of the earth element, but it dissolves into the water element. It dissolves meaning it transforms or it changes into the other elements. So it's so unreliable. So you think your only problem is being infirm, but you are not. Your problem is dryness of the mouth. Then you think that is your only problem. It is not. You started to lose heat and this and that. So the four elements become unreliable at that stage. So therefore, the four elements are regarded as illusory elements. Yeah, the impure body of the four illusory elements and the various causes of death at the moment of consciousness separation. Yeah. Then may the cutting pain and suffering be pacified. Yeah. So the next one is the second subcategory, which is to clear the confusion. So at the time of death, you started, we discussed this a little bit yesterday. We started seeing things, a lot of time when you have done so many negative things, you started to see the people whom you have wronged coming to get justice from you, coming to get things like that. So many things started coming up. And then you started seeing things, seeing people, pulling your leg, pulling all these things. Yeah. So the next verse is to pray to receive the blessing, to pacify all those bewilderment, confusing thoughts. The cherished, so English translation of the verse I just read. The cherished body, nourished with care, betrays me when needed. The terrifying Lord of Death, my enemy, appears before me. When the weapons of the three poisons, anger, attachment, and ignorance, severs my life, may the non-virtuous, illusory appearances be pacified. So, not only, so this is a teaching, big lesson on attachment. So we have attachment on others, right? We have attachment on what we call the near ones, the close ones, our partners, our relatives, our parents, this and that. And due to that sort of attachment, of course, we love them. And there's a very thin line between attachment and love. And we all, quite often, we cross that boundary, thin line. And when that happens, love turns into attachment. And attachment, as the name sounds, it attaches, it sticks, it clings, it clutches, it won't come off, it gets stuck. That is the problem with attachment. Right? So you will not be able to get out of that, get rid of that attachment. So this first line, even though it doesn't talk about anybody else, it just says, the cherished body nurtured with care betrays me when needed. What it basically means is, let alone everybody else, even my own body, which is with me since birth, which I take care of the whole life. If you look at it, our whole life is about taking care of this body. How we look, everything, right? Survive, this and that. For the mind, very little. Even the mind training that we have, the mind training that takes place in the mind training that takes place in a spot, in a place called school, the mind training that we have is to make sure that we have the proper education to feed this body, right? So that's why His Holiness talks about the holistic education, all this thing. Everything we learn from small, I mean, these things are changing nowadays slowly, but for a long time, since we started the system called school, what people are being taught is to become a good I'm not going to use that word. Yeah. So so become a very good So basically, we're teaching the whole system is built so that everything that we learn. So, okay.
Transmitter.
So I need to give it. Oh, maybe the battery is low.
Maybe. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I think good now, right? Yeah. So basically, the whole study system is all about the fact that we can become a good worker to feed ourselves, to get a house, pay the rent, to buy grocery, all these things, so we can properly function as a upstanding citizen of the society. That is the term. But basically, it's all about becoming a good worker. Anyway, I sound like a very extreme socialist. But that's not what I'm trying to say. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that everything we do, including our mind training in the regular sort of ordinary sort of setting, is to make sure that we can take care of this body. The house, which is for the body. A partner, what is for? It's for the body. The food is for the body. Everything. The transportation system, right? The bus, everything for the body. Clothes for the body. Everything is for the body. And we do that, right? Every penny that we earn is for the body. We call it different things, but it's for the body. It's for the physicality of it. As much as we say that, oh, the body is not that important, blah blah blah, that we do it, right? So that body we cherish so much and do everything for, and it's not a new thing. It's not a new something that happened in the modern era. This is happening since like beginning of time, whatever. When human beings started to evolve and think, everything they started to do is for the body. There are certain people who do it only for the mind, and who just don't give any, for the body. Anyway, so the point is, the cherished body betrays you. That's the first line. This cherished body, nurtured with care, betrays me when needed. When needed means at the time of death, it's such a terrifying, we don't know what's, because most of us, death is uncertain, unknown. Not only uncertain, not only the timing of death is uncertain, but the destination of your next birth is unknown. And most of us actually even don't know whether there is a next life or not. We believe, but we don't know. We have a firm belief, but we don't know. We haven't seen it. So when it is most uncertain, most unknown, we usually fear the unknown. So unknown, uncertain, untreated path, or what do you call that thing, right? A path that is some destination that you have never been. At that time, you need someone to take you, to guide you. You have been taking care of this body your whole life, and at the time, from the transition from this life to the next, you need something to guide you, be with you at all times, support. Your friends are not there, family, nobody is there. I mean, they are at the verge of death, they are there. But when you are dying, when you're making the actual transition from birth to death, when you're in the process of actual jump, actual stepping from this life to the next, at that moment, nobody is there, including your own body, which you have cherished, done so much, everything. Your whole life, 80 years, 90 years, 17 years, 20 years, everything you did for this. And at the most crucial moment, this thing betrays you. So this thing is now trivial, not that important. Life must be lived. Life must be used as a vehicle according to Shantideva. So there are two verses that he said. One is that he said he likened our whole life, the process of our whole life, to taking care of this stool making machine. Yeah, he called this the stool making machine. How do you take care of the body? By eating. And every time you eat, you generate stool. So he said this is a stool making machine, and we have spent all our life taking care of this stool making machine. Alternatively, if you use this object, the body, as a boat to get a ride across the ocean of samsara, sea of samsara, then it would be the ideal usage of this object, the body. That one. And next is Lamya Dhamma Temple. Okay, then the next word, maybe a portion of Rimju Dolome, Nianum Sudo Rewe Retache, Rani Chicha Demi Kuretse, Lamya Dhamma Temple Chigilo. The doctor has given up. The rituals cannot avert it. The relatives' hope for my recovery is exhausted. When I myself am bewildered, not knowing what to do, may I be blessed to remember the Guru's oral instructions. So, Guru's instruction is not something like a very well-kept secret that is not being shared to anyone. It's all the teaching that you heard about the Four Noble Truths, about the importance of bodhicitta, patience, emptiness, all these teachings. These are all the instruction. All these are the instruction. But to summarize or to put it concisely, there is a certain dhamma or instruction, okay, which will come in the next page probably. Okay, guys, okay. So I think it's important to cover this aspect, even though, so I will not. So there is something, so that that instruction is something called the 5 powers. The Tibetan power, top means power, but I think it's more suitable to use the term force, 5 forces. Yeah, by using the 5 forces, you will be able to have a smooth passage at the time of death. So that 5 passage comes in the next 5 forces come in the next verse. So I will read it. No, not the next verse. The verse after the next verse. Sene sabe se no shudulu zeshin dongme nyenam dendeshe nyamgen su chibul trovese ka dela dem chingilo. Food and wealth accumulated through miserliness are left behind. Loving and sorrowing relatives are forever separated. When I walk alone into the terrifying place, death, may I be blessed to be endowed with joyful confidence. Okay? Then the next verse. Saju menu jungwa rimki tim luigi top shor kanang kamshin ze. Chö du ukse mata jimbe se kesem top den kero chingilo. Okay, I think I should put it there because it's not here in the actual original sort of the oral teaching. So the 5 forces that we must remember at the time of death, 5 forces, okay, 5 points of 5 forces. The first one is called kombeto. Komba means habituation or familiarization, familiarity. Kombeto. Then I come to then Pembeto, the force of determination. Then the force of seed, force of a white seed. White seed basically means positive seed, positive cause. So the literal translation is carbo sabing top. So carbo is white, sabing is seed, top, carbo sabing top. Then the force of refutation, refuting something, yeah, refute, 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 refutation. Then the force of prayer, aspiration. So the 5 forces. So these 5 forces must be utilized at the time of death in order to have a swift transition, swift passage from this to the next life. First one, contemplate, the force of familiarity. That means it is something that we talk all the time. Basically, if you do not practice and do not follow something diligently beforehand, if you don't prepare for your death, at the very moment of death, if you must do some practice, at that very moment, you cannot find it. You cannot do it. Even when we are doing, even when we are hale and hearty, it's difficult to practice. But at the time of death, we become weak, lost, bewildered, all that. So we cannot. Some lamas come and try to preach dharma. It helps a little bit, but not very powerful. Like if you have a daily practice most of the time we think of daily practice, we think to read a certain book, like, okay, I do Sankhya Chodama, I do Yundeshi Gyuma, like this and that. That is my daily practice, right? That is the recitational practice. Daily practice means practicing the mind. We'll talk about this. So preparing the mind for the death, preparing the mind. That's the real practice. The real practice is a practice, so it must be practiced before the game, right? You cannot practice during the game. During the game, you have to actually play the game. The practice must be done beforehand. So what you have practiced diligently for a long time is what you have become familiar with. Bodhicitta, no, Vajrasattva practices, compassion-related practices, any form of dharma practices, right? Whatever you are doing, that is the practice that is most familiar to you, is the practice that is most handy for you, right? So that is the force of familiarization, or the force of familiarity. Contemplate, something that you are familiar with, that practice is the best practice for you at the time of death. So that's why usually in Tibetan, like monastic settings, when someone like a monk is dying or dead, we ask other monks to do prayer. We will ask, what is his daily practice? What is his usual thinking, this and that? So we will do that practice for him. I mean, all prayers are good, but that prayer is especially effective for him because he is most familiar with that path, right? Because we learn so many things, but at the crucial moment, we usually go for our, what we are used to, our they call it reflexes, and what our body is most used to, right? We can learn like defensive methods, art, defense, like, I don't know, kung fu, whatever, art, karate, whatever. But at the crucial moment, these things doesn't really come to help. Of course, if you are going for a sparring competition, then these are very helpful. But at the actual, when you are being attacked by someone, at that crucial moment, usually whatever is in your hand, maybe a stone is better. You pick up the rock and throw at that person. That's more helpful, effective. So whatever you are more familiar, that is good for you. Kometo, the force of familiarity. The second one is the force of determination. So this is basically, I translate it as determination. It can be translated different things. It can be motivation, intention. So whatever practice that you have done, right, at the time of death, make a determination that you are going to continue this practice until enlightenment for the sake of all sentient beings. So make such a determination, make such a commitment, and then your life becomes meaningful. Death is an exit, right? Every exit is an entrance to somewhere else. right? When you exit this house, you're actually entering the road, the opening, bigger things. So, so every exit is an entrance. If you know there is a possibility, there is an opening there, then it becomes an entrance. If you think of that as a blockage, as a darkness, then it becomes an exit. You're exiting into something dark, confusing, this and that. So at the time of death, if you have no intention, no determination, nothing, oh, I'm going to die, oh, alas, everything is gone, done, nothing to do, that is a closure, no openness. It's a full, complete exit, no entrance there. But if you think that at the time of death, whatever practice that I've done, whatever practice that I have not done yet, I'm going to accomplish that in my next life. And for the sake of all sentient beings, there is a strong determination to live. Your body may not be supporting, so you have to change the body. So the transition happens. Mind and body separate means death. Death means mind and body separate. So death is nothing but a separation of the mind from the body. So you are going for a buffet. You finish one plate, that plate is dirty. You go for another set of buffets, another set of meals on a different plate. It's an opening, it's an entrance, it's a welcome, right? If you stick with this old plate, put everything into this old plate, it's dirty. It's going to mess up all the new things that you may have and be able to enjoy. So that's why I think of body, disposing the body as disposing an old plate, dirty plate, like that. So then life, the death becomes an entrance, entry. Death becomes a welcome thing, like that. So the determination, force of determination. The next one, the seed of white, sorry, the force of white seed. That is so in order to now, then the process of white seed is basically you make accumulating the merit. So merit is like the credit. Yeah. Karma is like debit. It's a debt also. Karmic debt, we usually refer to that. It's a debt, it's a debit. Merit is credit. You gain. So in order to gain merit, credit, you need to pray, to accumulate merit. So basically, like actual praying, like reciting a mantra, recalling the Guru's image, the Buddha's image, this and that. And at that time, usually what happens in a sort of a Buddhist culture, the families will come around and do prayers for you. You're on the deathbed, they will do prayer, recite mantra, call monks, this and that. So this way, you're accumulating the merit, right? So a lot of so what? Okay. So how do you accumulate the merit? Because you have to prepare for your death before you die. So you set aside a certain amount of money that okay, at the time of death, do this for me. So then at the time of death, you may be very weak to do anything, but then your trusted family member or friend will do this thing for you. Physically, they will do for you, and mentally, you can also do the prayer and aspiration by yourself. So that is the force of the white seed. Basically, that's the merit. Okay. Then the force of refutation, refuting something, removing something, getting rid of something. So basically, now this comes to basically that is the idea of emptiness, because nothing that all this problem comes from anger, because of not necessarily anger like you're angry and get mad, but like anger in the sense of you have disliking of someone or something, this and that. Basically, you have this sort of a I would say wanting to be separated from something. Anyway, so anger, okay? So the three poisons. Anger comes from attachment. Because you like something so much, when that thing you like or that person you like is harmed, you get angry. It can be your idea, your belief system, your loved ones in person, etc. When the attachment is harmed, anger rises. And both of them come from ignorance. Many different types of ignorance, but the ultimate ignorance is ignorance of the ultimate reality, which is that everything is inherently existing, really, truly there. That is the ignorance, that is the confusion, that is the bewilderment. But in true essence, it is not. Nothing is inherently existing, nothing is inherently true, nothing is intrinsically there. Nothing is what it appears to be. So therefore, there is no reason to hold on to, cling into, clutch onto, get stuck with any of those things. So basically, the idea of emptiness, right? Free from inherent existence. That is called the refuting. Refuting everything that you believe to be true. Refuting everything. I mean, even when we pray to the Buddha, we believe Buddha to be inherently existent. Buddha to be real, truly real. And yeah. Then the last one is the prayer, the force of prayer. The difference between that one and the seed is during the force of white seed, you are actually making an offering, doing some activity to accumulate merit. Here is mere aspiration. So aspiration backed with proper action becomes more effective, right? So the 5 forces, the force of familiarization, meaning practice, you need to have a daily practice, something that you are familiar with, which will come handy at the time of death, crucial moment. The force of familiarity. Second being the force of determination, that you're doing it for a long time, for eternity, not eternity, it's not the right word, for the sake of all sentient beings, until enlightenment. That is the determination, the force of determination. That makes death an entry, not an exit, not a closure, but an opening. If you have the proper determination, death becomes an opening. It does not remain as a closure. It is not a darkness, it is a light. Then the white seed, the force of white seed, basically means accumulating merit. You can accumulate merit even before death, and it accumulates like interest in your bank. It accumulates over your life. Yeah, at the time of death, that one, the white seed basically means accumulating merit. Then the force of refutation, meaning thinking on emptiness, that nothing is inherently existent. That one. The last one is prayer. Right. These are the 5. The force of familiarity, the force of determination, the force of white seed, the force of refutation, and the force of prayer. So these are the 5 things you need to remember. With that, the passage to death, the passage to next life, transition from this to the next life becomes smooth. Yeah. I think it's time to yeah, this is we live here. This is the end. So there was one question from a small girl that was attending yesterday. So the question was, is everything impermanent? And is everything impermanent? And the second question was, why is ice and water impermanent? So I received a slip from a 10-year-old girl. So I think she cannot attend today, so she's listening. Yes. So, yes, everything is impermanent. Everything is impermanent. Nothing lasts forever. So everything is impermanent. That's the first answer. Second one, why water and ice is impermanent? Water is impermanent because water can turn into ice. If water is permanent, cannot transform into ice. If ice is permanent, then it cannot transform into water. If you have an ice cream, it cannot be crushed into a slush to enjoy. If an ice cube is permanent, ice cubes cannot be crushed, cannot be transformed into a slush to enjoy, make into a smoothie and stuff. If water is permanent, it cannot be turned into an ice cube. Cannot be turned into an ice cube, cannot be turned into a shaved ice to enjoy a bingsu. So therefore, in order to make water and ice both usable or make it in order to make both of them utilizable, so that we can enjoy both water and ice, but ice and water both are impermanent. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Gewan di nyogo ablama sangye tugu ne towa chikyam ni zalang gwa sho chanju semcho rimboche ma ge panam ge yewa nyamba mewa yum kondo perwa shu. Thank you.